this computer. Okay, hi everyone. So I hope you're here for year 2 employability. I think it was absolutely lovely to see so many of you yesterday. I think we have not met. We will meet in a second term, in a second part of this year 2 again when I will teach social psychology. But I'm here in my role as basically as the person who's trying to kind of push your career. And there are many other people who are trying to hear, who are having the same goal. And this is, I think we will talk with Celine, and she will talk about micro placements. We will hear from Roma, and she will talk about the placements and sandwich year studying abroad, and we'll hear from Antonio, who is representing the career service and will tell you all about the options you have. We will start with me talking a little bit about like what we as a department, as the psychology department, offer you in terms of employability, but also to give you a little bit of a feel for what kind of jobs are out there and what you need to do in order to be ready for these jobs, in order when you graduate. Okay, that sounds really far. In the after this event, I have another event where I talk to year 3 students, right? And these year 3 students, they're a year closer. And I think that for graduating, this might feel really far away, but it's coming fast. And I think year 2, I said it, somebody entered the waiting room. Year 2, I said it yesterday, year 2 is really critical for starting to get work experience, starting to figure out what you want to do. Okay, and you will see this is also why we as a department, but also why the university offers so many options for you guys to get to dip your toes into the water, to experience different jobs and to gather work experience. Okay, I think we always, I'm happy to do, if you have any questions, I think I will stop. You can also just pop them in the chat. I try to ignore the chat a little bit during when I'm talking because I get too easily distracted. But once I kind of stop, then if you have any question along the way, happy to chat. And I hope that in the end, we will also have more time. So let me just quickly share my screen and talk you a little bit through the event. Okay. Year 2 employability, just to remind me, to remind you and me why we're here. I think the most important thing, if you stop listening after this slide, then the one thing that I want you to take away, right, is that year 2 is the year to really get active, get involved, and start exploring. I think it's very hard sometimes. Some of my personal tutees, when I talk to them, they say like, oh, I don't really know what I should do. I think I need to do a little bit more research. Research is important. Research needs to be done. You can, and I show you how you can very easily get a good impression of what you can do with a psychology degree. But it's really important to know that you need to get work experience during your degree, ideally, and you need to do this by getting active, by being proactive. Nobody will basically bring that to you. We will help you. We will offer a lot of options. We will kind of nudge you and push you. But at the end of the day, this is different than your academic achievements and success. At the end of the day, it depends a little bit on you and how much you want to do this and how much you want to get out of it. Okay. So if you don't take anything away, just be kind of like in the back of your mind throughout this year, and especially with the upcoming summer in 2022, you should think about getting work experience, and I will explain more how to do that and the options and so forth. So just kind of what we want to talk about. I think it's always a little hard for me in these introductory events. Some of you might really have a good idea already what kind of jobs are out there. Some of you might have actually come to all the events that I organized last year. You might know some of the jobs from PS 1009. You went to the events that I organized. You might have went to some of the events organized by the Career Service. Others of you might have not done anything yet about that, which is perfectly fine. And so I will give you a little bit of an introduction today about basically the 3 big areas you can work if you have a degree in psychology and you want to take advantage of this degree, right? You can obviously do anything else as well. You're not in the psychology degree prison, but just to remind you, okay, if you want to really take advantage, there are these 3 different areas. One that has to do with mental health, one that has to do roughly with well-being, and then there's which I have can't find a good common denominator, which I have called other. And I will give you an idea of what these jobs in these areas are, and then show you a little bit about what you need to do in order to get one of these jobs, okay? Then I will talk in between. I will talk about the 3 pillars that you need in order to get a good job that I will outline with a psychology degree. And these degrees are basically in order of importance. You need to have some kind of academic excellence. So I always say it's really important to get a 2-1 or higher. Okay, you will see this is like, I mean, if you end up not getting it, there's always, life always has more than one option, right? But I think this is the most important thing, that you have a 2-1 or higher. For most of these jobs, this is the requirement, and you should focus on this first. The second one is work experience, which we talk ad nausea today, all the options you have to find work experience. Most of the jobs that you with a psychology degree that you can apply after you finish your bachelor want you to have some kind of work experience. Often they want substantial work experience, so it's really important that you do that. And then a lot of the fancier jobs like clinical psychologists or educational psychologists and so forth, they also want you to have some type of research experience, okay? And then I will talk about, or not I will talk, mostly other people will talk about all the opportunities you have to get these types to get work experience. And then at the end I will talk a little bit about how you can get some research experience. We will talk about micro placements, which is a program the university offers about placements. We will talk about the career service. Antonia will outline how the career service can help you to get work experience and to excel in your career. And I will talk about the Psychology Research Excellence program, a program that I started to now lead with James about trying to get students substantial research experience so that they thereafter can take advantage of that. Okay, I hope this makes sense. One thing that just came out, and I just want to share this with you guys, is this is basically a survey that where we ask our students, I think 16 months after they graduated, what are you doing right now? Okay. This looks a little bit confusing, but let me just highlight some of the numbers. So you can see of the outcomes of all graduates, so 16 months, sorry, I kind of crossed this out, about 70%, a little bit less than 70%, said they either had a graduate level job, so one where you need a degree in order to do this, or they're in postgraduate education, so they're doing a master's, okay? So about 7 out of 10 of you guys will have 60 months after you graduate one of these wonderful options, okay? I think if you look at just employability, you see that about 52% of our students 60 months are in graduate level employment. I think you will see it's a little tricky for psychology because I think a lot of these involve a little bit a longer time to get working, and you need to do a little bit more education. I think one thing I also really want to highlight is that we don't have any differences for students who are from widening participation backgrounds or with a Bain background. It's basically, if you have a psychology degree at City, it doesn't matter so much where you come from or your ethnicity. It seems like that the levels of employability are basically the same, okay? And I think that's really nice to highlight. And I just want, you guys are here, which probably means that you will be you're more likely to be one of the 70% or 66.7 or 67.9. You can see it depends a little bit on the method that is used to aggregate these numbers, but roughly 70% that have these graduate level outcomes that we like, what is called here a positive outcome. And we want to help you to be among these 70%, okay? So how can we do that? I think I want to show you first, if you have not seen it, we have the City Psychology Career Network. I think if I can just quickly discard, show you this. Oh, we're on a wrong. Okay. Can I figure this out? Okay, let's just not do this. Okay, let me just, okay, we just do it live, doesn't matter. Here's like, this is my LinkedIn account. I just want to show you, this is Alberta. You'll meet her later on. And this is the Psychology Career Network site. We have now 284 members here. You can just join it. You can only join it if you're a city student, a city psychology student. And here I often post information that comes along. So yesterday at the events that we organized, I met, for instance, Sarah, and she told me about 2 really interesting initiatives, and I immediately put that on our LinkedIn network. So you can just go to the City Psychology Career Network and you will be up to date of kind of like offers, information, opportunities, events, and so forth. Okay, this is one thing I really want to show you. Okay, and then let me go back to, oh yeah, and the other one that I want to show you is our events page. Okay, last year, I don't know if you have been to any of the events last year, but we had a lot of really good events last year. And you can see, if you want, they're all recorded because you might have heard it. Last year, everything was online. And you can see here, and the link is in, I share these links frequently, but it's also in the slides, that we have first a longer version of what I'm giving you today. So how to get started with your psychology career. This is something I recorded last semester. Then you can have a talk about how to become a clinical psychologist and some resources. This is Dr. Amanda Imali. She spoke and she explained how to become a clinical psychologist. She is a clinical psychologist. We had clinical psychologists with a BAME background who are speaking about this. You can watch the recording here, see the resources. You can learn how to become an educational psychologist. And then we had 2 events. No, we had 2 events where alumni were speaking about their experience and what kind of jobs they have. Really, really good. You can see their little biographies here. And this is another event where we have another set of alumni talking about how they got the really cool jobs they have and what it took them after the graduation. And then we end with our very own Jessica, who we're talking about how to become a counseling psychologist. These are in-depth talks about any of these jobs. We will have this semester a talk about how to become an occupational psychologist, how discover. Then Antonia organized an event, a panel discussion about different options with a psychology degree. I will be there too and helping host this event. We have in week 6 the placement conference, and then we have in week 8 how to become a forensic psychologist. There underneath, you can, this might not be relevant for you today, you can hear some of our students talk about their experience with master programs, and there's a 10-minute video of me saying whether or not you should do a master if you want to pursue a career in psychology. So this is, it's in the slides, but I can also put that in the chat again, so that you, if I ever find the chat, here we go, and you can explore this. So if you have more detailed questions about any of these careers, you can have a great resource there, and all of these have links to further information. Okay, so this should help you to find, kind of like figure out what types of jobs you can do. This is from the, I just put it in here, I think the career service shared this with us. This is more about employability skills. So these are skills that you need, and you can do workshops about there. There's an events guide, business, finance, and economic guide. I think there's often jobs that are very interesting for psychologists too, and below the law and social science fair guide. So these are events that you can explore too, where you, the career service organize them, and you can see what different types of jobs are out there for you. Okay, let me kind of, I don't know, I hope that maybe at least some of you don't have at all a clue about what types of jobs are out there as with psychology. I always, I think we can do it differently. I always separate all the jobs you can do in these 3 different areas, okay? So one area has to do with mental health. Anything that you associate with some kind of mental disorder or learning disability, and somebody is trying to fix that, quote unquote, okay? So these are jobs that are in the mental health sector. Then there's what I call well-being, where it's not so much about people who have some kind of problem or disorder that they face, but you want to help people flourish. You want to enhance their well-being, enhance their productivity. Then there's a set of jobs for you there. And then there's this weird category, other. Okay, so let me give you some examples for each of these categories and tell you a little bit how to get there. And then you can see what is important to get there. And then we talk about, because what you will quickly see is that work experience is one of the key factors you need to gather during your degree. And then we talk about how you can get that work experience. Okay. Oh, this is okay. I think we talked about this already. Academic excellence, work experience, and research experience. I think I will talk about research experience at the end. This is basically, research experience is really important if you want to get into any of these doctorate programs. I will explain that in a second. The most important thing, as I explained in the beginning, is to focus on your academic excellence. I think you can always make up for work experience. You can always make up for research experience. It's really hard, not impossible, but it's hard to make up for 2-2. Okay, that can be a real obstacle to have a flourishing career with your degree. Okay. Let me focus a little bit now on these 3 areas. So mental health, okay? So this is the biggest, basically what people most typically associate with jobs in the psychology field. This could be clinical psychologist, counseling psychologist, educational psychologist, and forensic psychologist. Clinical psychologists are psychologists that basically work for the NHS within hospitals. So the main difference between these 4 different occupations is basically the context. There are other differences, and I think you can explore them when you listen to these talks, especially clinical and counseling psychology are very closely related to each other. But the biggest difference between all these 4 is the context. So clinical psychologists, probably what most of you are familiar with already, are people who work with mental disorders in the context of hospitals. Counseling psychologist is often what people maybe outside of psychology classically associate with psychology. You might have a private practice and you might work there with and give therapy to your clients. Educational psychologists deal with mental disorders and learning disabilities in the context of schools, of the educational system. Forensic psychologists deal with mental disorders within the prison system. Okay, so you see prison, school, outside the hospital, inside the hospital. These are the main differences between these 4 branches. These are all accredited, BPS accredited careers. If you become one of these, there's if you want to work, you will always have work. Okay, clinical psychologist, counseling psychologist, education psychologist, and forensic psychologist. You basically will have a very good income and you have absolute secure employment. So that might be interesting for you to know. And I think you basically, as a clinical psychologist, for instance, you earn similar to a doctor. Okay, let's explore clinical psychology a little bit more to kind of give you an idea how to become a clinical psychologist. Okay. So the traditional route is you do your BPS accredited psychology degree, which you're doing at City. So that is great. Then after you graduated, you have to have a year or at least a year of work experience with your degree. Okay. So that's important. Then you apply for a doctorate. I think in all of these talks in the counseling and clinical and education, I always get the question, what's a doctorate? If you become a clinical psychologist and you do a doctorate in clinical psychology, you get paid to do basically for 3 years a program that is half. It's like an apprenticeship. So you're in the NHS 3 to 4 days a week, you work at an hospital, you help people with their mental issues and mental health problems, and then 1 day or 2 days you come back at the university and learn more about the foundations of clinical psychology. Okay? And then thereafter you become a clinical psychologist. All right? So it's like the doctorate is a paid program. You get paid very well. You get paid more than you would earn as like an average income, for instance, in London. I think it's like 30,000+ a year. So it's a good job. It's extremely competitive to get in there. And that's how you become a clinical psychologist. I think what a lot of kind of like talks when we talk about clinical psychology forget is a little bit, okay, when you graduate, there are many jobs you can do before you become a clinical psychologist and join the doctorate, or you can just stay. You can be a clinical psychologist or practice some part of clinical psychology without actually being a clinical psychologist. So what does that mean? The most basically kind of sought after job is after you will graduate and you want to become a clinical psychologist is to be an assistant psychologist. So you would work with other clinical psychologists within the NHS in a hospital, and you would do basically a lighter version of what a clinical psychologist would do. You would more work for one in a team with other clinical psychologists. It's a graduate level job. It's very well paid, a really good job, hard to get. Okay. I'm not sure why the well-being practitioner, we come to this in a second. Okay, then there's another way you can spend, basically you can get this work experience that you need to become a clinical psychologist, is to become a mental health care worker or a support worker. So this is a job which like a lot of our graduates do in order to get the work experience with their degree in order to become a clinical psychologist. So you would work within the NHS with people who have mental health problems in a team of most likely led by and managed by a clinical psychologist, which allows you to get the work experience, also paid. So there are these two different types of paid jobs that you can do. You can also just continue doing these jobs. There's nothing wrong with these jobs. Just a good jobs. You might enjoy them. You might never feel like, oh, I want to become a clinical psychologist. I want to do another 3 years of the doctorate. Then you can just pursue them. There's a new program, the Clinical Associate in Psychology. And the Clinical Associate in Psychology is basically a program that is 2 years. You do what's called so it's basically a practice-focused master, and you get paid from this for doing this. It is a part of the NHS. You basically do the same as you would do during the doctorate, just a little bit shorter. So you would 3 to 4 days a week, you work for the NHS, you help people overcome their mental health issues, and then you would 1 or 2 days a week, you go back to university. And the clinical associate is basically 2 programs rolled in one. There is another program that you can apply for, which is the well-being practitioner. And this is sometimes called low intensity therapist, and you can do that. Oh, I have to rush a little bit through this, otherwise I will never finish this. The low intensity therapist is basically you under the guidance of a clinical psychologist, you have people who have less intense problems with their mental health and well-being. This is also a paid program where you get educated, and then you after 10 months you get a qualification, and then you can work within the NHS, and then you can become, if you are a well-being practitioner, you can become a cognitive therapist, is often also called high intensity therapist, and that gives you the chance to then also work within the NHS. It's another paid education, so where you get money to be educated as well. So these are jobs that I think each of these jobs help you to, are good jobs that help you to get, give you a nice income. It's a really good job. I think if you look at the events, we have several students talking about their experience doing all of these jobs, but they also give you the necessary qualification to then someday apply for clinical psychologist. Each of these jobs So each of these jobs you can do immediately after you graduated, but basically you will never get any of these jobs if you do not get some type of work experience while being at university. So you need to have work experience to then get any of these jobs, okay? I hope this makes sense. If you want to have a longer version of that, you can either listen to my introduction talk on the events page or to any of the clinical psychology talks that are recorded there. So forensic psychology, one thing I want to highlight here also is you don't have to do a master. Anything you do with mental health, you don't have to do a master, okay? Don't do a master if you're interested in mental health. The only exception for that is you have to do a master if you're interested in forensic psychology. Okay, we will have a talk about forensic psychology this semester, so you can learn more about this. Forensic psychology, awesome career if you're interested in that, but you have to pay for a master and you have to pay for the doctorate, and it's quite a tough route. But once you're a forensic psychologist, I think it's a really good, worthwhile investment, and your investments will pay dividends very nicely. So this is basically mental health. If you think a little bit about well-being, and I have to rush a little bit about this is organizational, occupational psychologists, so people who work in organizations and help employees to flourish, health psychologists who help, I think this is like a minor job, sports psychologists is even smaller, so when you want to help athletes to excel at what they're doing. And there's a little bit, I have this called here research. I'm not sure if research really fits well into this area here, but it's another one you can do where you mostly are focused on trying to help people to flourish. This is like research, behavior economics, and market research. So there's organizations all now have kind of their own research units that try to help them understand their employees and also their customers better. And this is applied psychology plus applied psychological methods. Occupational psychologist, just as an example, if you want to become that, or an organizational psychologist, you have to do a master, and then you have to work, and then you become an occupational psychologist. I think it's always good if you want to get into a good master's program to have an experience, for instance, as via the microplacement. Okay, let me rush a little bit through this here, because otherwise we'll never get there. There are other jobs out there. You can do teaching. You don't really need a psychology degree. You can do civil service. Awesome program. I think in the LinkedIn group, I posted something today. One of the best employers out there. Really good if you have experienced the police. They have a large interest in psychologists applying to work from them. Prison management is one. User interface, user experience is one. And marketing is another area. Okay, so there are many, many different areas. For all of these areas, it's really good that you get some kind of work experience. And I will finally shut up. Sorry that this might be a little bit rushed, but I will kind of hand it now to Celine, and she will talk a little bit about microplacements. And then, this is one way to get the work experience you need when you leave university to be competitive on the market. Thereafter, we will talk about placements. Roma will talk about placements. And at the end, Antonia will talk a little bit about the options the career service have for you to get that work experience during your second year. Okay, I stopped I think Selena made you host, and you should be able to kind of share.
Thank you, Andreas. I've also invited a third-year psychology student along who will speak about their experience in the program just after me. So my section shouldn't take too long, and then we'll open the floor to Samaya. Okay, so thanks, Andreas, again. My name is Celine. I'm one of the microplacements program coordinators here at City, and I'm here to talk to you about the microplacement program, which you're all eligible to take part in this academic year. So what is the microplacements program? Essentially, the program is a 15-credit elective that provides you an opportunity to complete an exciting project and gain real-life work experience for 4 weeks at an employer's office in the summer. There are a number of benefits to taking part in the program. Here are just a few. So firstly, the program is a great opportunity to enhance your core employability skills. Also, the program's core value is career exploration, and therefore it's a great platform that enables you to explore different career options. The recruitment process can be competitive. However, we're very supportive and will provide support, exclusive training, and constructive feedback throughout. It's also a chance to increase your employability prospects and build a network of industry contacts. And personally, I feel like this is so vital given the impact of the pandemic recently. And finally, it's a perfect opportunity to gain placement experience that is short-term in the summer, but also has an invaluable long-term impact on your career journey. So we've had quite a few employers who've participated on the program previously. Some big names such as House of Commons, Save the Children, Vincent Masons, Tata Consultancy Services. But we also collaborate with majority of a number of small to medium employers such as Phil Gibson Media, Forum for the Future, Tutors United, and Langvisson. I also don't want to just take my word on how great the program is. Hear from your peers who have also participated in the program previously. So we conducted a survey, and from this survey, 100% of students recommended other city students to take part in the program, which is a really great statistic I wanted to highlight. And also 100% who completed the survey felt that they were more prepared for future job applications after undergoing the micro placements recruitment process. This was a really key statistic I wanted to highlight, as the micro placements program deliberately imitates the recruitment processes you would go through if you were to apply for a graduate scheme or an internship outside of the university. So yeah, all beneficial. I also have a few testimonials from students who participated in the program previously. So we can take the last one, which is a psychology student, Anthony Lowe. So he mentioned the aspects of the entire recruitment process, which he enjoyed the most was the attainment of a new experience. So writing up professional CVs, cover letters, and the entire process of having a professional interview was incredibly enjoyable. And the entire experience was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, and I would gladly turn back in time in order to experience it again. So that was really heartwarming to hear from him. He was in second year last academic year, so he did the program last year, and yeah, I believe he's on a placement year now, if I understand correctly, which is really great. So these are the courses that are open to apply. As you can see, psychology being one of them in second year. So I'm going to quickly speed through this as I'm aware of time. So to be invited to select the program as an elective, you will successfully have to go through a recruitment selection process to be considered for the program. So the first stage being the expression of interest forms. That's the first step I want you all to really take note of. It opens on the 4th of October and ends on the 18th of October. So you'll just need to complete a short form for that. Once this form has been completed, you'll be invited to one of our workshops in week commencing 11th and 18th of October. From that point onwards, an application form. If you're shortlisted from the application form, you'll then be invited to our assessment centre and interview stage, which is run in partnership with GradCore, an expert assessment centre facilitator company. So you'll really get beneficial experience from them, and also a personalised feedback report. From this point, if you're successful, you'll then be invited onto the programme, where you'll complete the matching process, which is essentially the process you go through to secure your placement for the summer. And then finally, you'll do your placement in the summer. So yeah, if you're successful, we'll invite you to join the program and take part in the matching process, as mentioned before. Key note to remember is it's a credit-bearing module, and therefore you'll need to select it in your module selection window for term 1 of 22-23. So in terms of next steps, if you are interested, the first step is to complete the expression of interest form. Opens on Monday the 4th, so just around the corner. will stay open for just 2 weeks. So please do not miss out. Form will be available on Careers Hub, and it will also be shared with you via email, and the link will be sent to your course contacts too. Our Student Hub page is linked here, and of course, if you do have any questions, feel free to email us too. We also are running a few drop-in sessions on campus on these dates, so feel free, if you do have any questions, to pop by and speak to us directly. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to invite Samaya to talk about her experiences. Are you there?
Hi, I'm Samaya. So I'm a current third-year psychology student. I did my micro placement in the summer that just went, and with me it was a research micro placement. So I worked with a school, and we collected data on free school meal uptake. In all honesty, my entire experience with the micro placements program was great. I would definitely recommend it to you. Everyone here is like very focused on their employability and things like that. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be here in this Zoom call anyways. It's great as well. The main kind of selling factor for me was that it was a third year module as well. So now that I've gone into third year, I just selected my modules. I'm going to be starting, of course, like teaching and stuff soon. So in term one, instead of having 3 electives, because you've already done the micro placement, and that counts as one of the 3, you basically only have 2 modules to do in like actual third year. So in term one, sorry. So it does kind of save you in terms of like workload as well, from like a student perspective. In terms of somebody who's looking for like more employability and stuff like that, it was really reflective of a real life experience, like a real life working experience. So I'm somebody who wants to go down the kind of clinical road, and I only knew that after I did the micro placement, because when I went in second year, I was kind of like, what do I want to do? I have no idea. I have no idea what I could do, because with psychology, as you all know, and from Andreas's talk as well, there's so many routes, there's so many options. And what's great about the micro placements program is that it shows you a variety of kind of employability, like backgrounds in different fields and sectors, and you do get such a wide array to choose from. Just because you're like a psychology student doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be doing something psychology based. There was like finance options, like literally all kind of across the board. So it was a great experience for me as a student to kind of broaden my awareness of the different sectors and see what I wanted to do. And yeah, so it really helped like clarify that for me. And then not having to do an extra module in term one was another selling point, which was great. So yeah, and the micro placements team as well, they're great. Like kudos to Selin, everybody, even Andreas with the employability. Like I still get those emails every week. Like it's great. And like you have such City, I can't lie, like they are pioneers in terms of like career facilitation from like other students that I know as well. Like you won't come across another university who helps students like figure out what they want to do, or like provide you with kind of like employability experiences like City. So yeah, so take advantage of it, guys.
It's almost like we paid you. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
there's no one with a gun in the room, like yeah.
I think could I just thank you so much. I think could I just highlight 2 things. I think Celine answered this already in the chat. I think there's like micro placements are really focused on career exploration. So if you don't really know what is out there, this is the perfect thing for you to do. You will get you will get work experience, you will do something, you will get exposed to many things, right? If you think I want to do something with autistic children in this type of setting, then you should not maybe do a micro placement, but you should either volunteer or do a placement for that if you have a very specific idea. And I think, I don't know, Celine, if it's fair to say, if you're very clinical, I think then also micro placements might not be the perfect fit. I think it's harder to do a a short placement within the NHS, which kind of is a nice transition, maybe, if that's okay. Okay, so maybe Celine, you could answer the questions in the chat. And because I think I would love to kind of pass it to Roma, who does the placements. I think that sometimes I get this with many things. Should I do a micro placement or placement? And I think the answer is always yes. You should do all of these things. It's not secure. It's not guaranteed that you will get either. Right? It's like, oh, I only do a micro placement, then you don't get in, and I think they offer different things. I think so. You will hear from Roma more about placements, but I think all the opportunities that come your way, just go for it, right? And you won't get all of them, but I think it's yes. I think it's unusual that people do both, because I think most of the people who apply for placements already have a clearer idea what they want to do. But yes, please do. Okay, Roma, do you want to take over?
Yes. Thank you, Andreas. Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Roma. I'm Employability and Student Mobility Officer here at School of Arts and Social Sciences. And as Andrea said, it is quite unusual for students to do both a placement year and a micro placement. But it does happen. Just so you know, it does happen. So Anthony, that Celine mentioned earlier, he's done a micro placement and he now secured a year-long placement as well. So that's really great. So micro placements could be a stepping stone towards placement here, really, because you will learn such amazing skills during micro placement program that actually then going and applying for placement will feel a little bit maybe easier. You will feel a little bit more prepared, but you definitely don't have to do both. You can choose whatever suits you better, you and your professional goals, academic goals. So me and my team, we administer sandwich year programs. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, just so you know that you have those options for you. So I hope you've already heard about sandwich year and you know what that is, but just as a reminder, if you decide to participate in a sandwich year, basically it will allow you to add an additional year between your second and third final year of studies. But that also means it extends your degree to 4 years in total. So that's the scheme to illustrate more or less what it looks like. So you have two options during this, what to do during this sandwich year. So you can either choose to study abroad at one of our partner universities, Europe, North America, Asia, or Australia. Or you could actually spend the year on placement, gaining work experience. And you probably have heard the names. So a study abroad program is known as a student exchanges program, and a placement year is known as integrated professional training program. That's the official title, so to speak, if you choose to do a placement year. There are lots of benefits. So although they seem quite different programs, one basically will help you to add a whole year of additional modules. So it gives you an opportunity to perhaps study subjects that would not be available to you at City. So that would be a study abroad option, or gaining actual work experience. So although they are quite different, they do provide with a similar benefits, and obviously such as developing your transferable employability skills. It will enhance your career. It will make your CV stand out, because if you think about everyone that will graduate together with you within the same year, and if everybody has a 3-year degree and you have 4 with additional year of studies or with a whole year's worth of work experience, that immediately puts you ahead of the crowd. It allows you to immerse yourself in another environment or culture, enhance your personal, professional, academic development. Many students say they do return back to the final year re-energized, especially because sometimes by the end of your second year, you might start feeling a bit fatigued. You feel the end is coming. You'll have to make that decision after you graduate. So having that additional year may actually help you to put you back on track and give you that revitalize, so to say. And obviously an opportunity to create new contacts and professional network. So once, if you decide to participate in the sandwich year and you sort of successfully complete it, that will be reflected in your final transcript and in your degree title. So instead of, for example, having BSc Psychology, you will graduate with integrated professional training if you do a placement year, or with study abroad if you decide to go on exchange. Eligibility criteria for sandwich year. So all second year students are eligible to apply. So one main big requirement is that students must have passed all the assessments before the beginning of the sandwich year. In short, you basically have to successfully complete your second year. You will have to apply before you finish your second year, and I will let you know when in a second. But actually, you know, whether you will be able to continue with the program or not will depend on your successful completion. For those who will choose to do a placement year, the placement should last between 9 and 12 months, and usually is a full-time placement. And it has to be a professional working position. So basically something that would provide you with a valuable work experience. And somewhere you can gain on-the-job training to further your academic or career goals. So that is really important. So if you are interested, or you would like to find out more, or if you're not sure, or perhaps you already decided whether you're an exchanges person or placements person, that's what you need to do next. So for the exchanges, I would like to invite you to have a look on SAS Exchanges Moodle page. So you've all been given access to it, so you should be able to find it. You will find a lot of information about exchanges, all the deadlines, also what partner universities are available, where can you go. Really useful website for you to have, a page for you to get a bit more familiar and do your research. We're then running a SICE-wide event on the 17th of November, where we will be talking about studying abroad in a little bit more detail. Usually we have students who went abroad previous years to come and talk about the experience, but unfortunately last year nobody could go abroad. But we will find maybe perhaps incoming exchange students will be happy to come and talk about their experience. You should also do some research to help you decide where you want to go, because there are a lot of things to think about. It's not only whether you like the country or just the name of institution, it's also, are they teaching the modules you would be interested in? Is that something financially viable? Because obviously there are differences whether you're going to North America or Europe and things like that. And again, all this detailed information can be found on Moodle. And the applications are usually open and closed in December. We'll let you know via email, so you will be notified about the exchanges event and about when the applications open. For the placements, so if you would like to find out more about the placements program, check out Placements Moodle page. Again, very useful resource. We also have the information about what you need to do to secure a placement, who can help you, where to look for placements, lots and lots of resources. So have a good browse. You should also have access to it. Then we're having a SAS-wide event on the 20th of October to talk about work placements. We'll invite some previous students to share their experience. Usually great event. So we will contact you and invite you to attend and register for it. I think you can already do it via Careers Hub. You have to then search for opportunities. Start doing that already. Start just, you know, if you don't know where to start, just start from Google. Just start Googling, I don't know, placements, psychology placements, mental health placements. See just where will it take you. If you have certain companies in mind where you would like to gain new experience, start actually noting now when the applications open, because that's more important than when they close. if you will be applying for popular organizations, well-known organizations, very often the applications close early if they receive enough applications. So you need to be first. You need to get your CV ready. And our careers consultants are really amazing to help you get there, to make sure your CV is as good as it can be. And I'm sure Antonia will talk about this in a second. You have to apply for placements. Again, different deadlines. Some applications open as early as October, others as late as May, depending on what you will be applying for. So you need to actually be always watching and always kind of looking for these opportunities. But it's also never too late. So you can be as early as you can, but you also, if spring comes, you're still not too late to find a placement. You need to get some interview practice. Again, our careers consultants are amazing in helping you to get the confidence that you will need during the real interviews. It's a must. Having your CV checked and having some mock interview practice, it's a must, because the competition is fierce. Everybody else had some help in making sure their CVs and their interviews are the best. So you need that help too. Again, I hope Antonia will mention that. If not, you just need to book an appointment through Careers Hub. And then you need to secure a placement. Congratulations. Most students who follow all these steps and are engaged and don't give up do end up securing placements. And you just need for the orientation to know that you should have your placement approved before the 30th of June. And you can start your placement after. So some students will start in July, some of them start in September. Just to give you some numbers, as you can see, that psychology students are choosing to do placement here more and more. Just a couple of years ago, we had a handful of students, and this year we have 27 psychology students who will not be returning to the third year just yet. They all secured year-long placements, and we hope you'll do the same. The most popular placements are with NHS. That's where the most of our students secure the placements. The second most popular will be third sector or charity placements, and the rest private sector, and there's also some placements in public sector. And these are just some placement titles or student placement roles, just to give you some idea. I will share this presentation with you. I'll just pop in the chat so you can have a look. And I will also share a flyer just with some reminders and dates and useful links. So just to wrap this up, if you have any questions, if you're confused, if you need some guidance and support, don't know where to start, please get in touch. And you can do that by sending us an email, or you can also book an appointment, 20 minutes appointment with myself or my colleague Fiona. We are here to help. Just get in touch, and then we'll hold your hand if we have to. If you have any questions, yes, also pop it into chat. I see if I can answer. If not, Andreas, I'm done. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think maybe you could stop sharing your screen. That would be awesome. And then we can, I think there's like before, so I mean, I think you see the numbers are, since I became employability lead at psychology, I'm pushing very hard that our students go on placements, because placements, year-long placements, if you want to see students who are in a competition for graduate level jobs right after they graduate, it's basically all of those that have placements. Nothing gives you as much of an advantage after graduating than having a placement. And I think this is even true. I think yesterday somebody asked us that. This is even true if you do the placement and then you figure out, oh God, I hate this job. I think it's also really good to realize what you do not like. And I think we have, like, I'm talking about one student in a third-year employability event, Simran, who realized she hated clinical psychology while being in the NHS. And now she has an amazing career in organizational psychology. But I mean, the work experience you get is not just limited to your one field. So I can only really encourage everyone to consider doing a placement. We also have in Reading Week, in week 6, we have a employability a placement conference. So we invite all the students, or some of the students who are on placements and who have finished their placements, to share their experience, how they got their jobs, what was good, what was bad, how they find it, tips and tricks and so forth. And I also know that from several students who mentor, who used to be on placements, and now they help other students find placements. So I think once you kind of get involved into the network of students who are doing placements, it's really, really cool. And you'll gain a lot of insight into whatever field you're interested in. Also, do you pay the same tuition fee? Okay, so I think this is a great question. I think there will be like an official event for placements. This is basically just a teaser for you guys here. There will be an official event for placements from the school, but also from us. You pay minimal fees. So the placement conference is on the Wednesday during Reading Week. This is week 6. I'm not sure. I mean, I will send out all the information. I think it's very, very low, the fee you pay. If you do not work in the NHS, if you work, we have often students, for instance, that work at Disney and so forth, you also get paid. So only in the NHS you don't get paid, I'm afraid. And others, you actually have a year where you earn quite well if you are on placement. I think it's something like 500 or 1,000 or so you pay fee for remaining a student at City and the support you get during that year. Antonia, are you still with us? I think we're almost out of time.
Yeah, but I think I've got what, 3 minutes?
Just yes. Take your time. So
I don't have the time because I've got a commitment next until the next one at 3:30.
Okay.
Okay, so hello for those who don't know me. Really nice to see you. I'm Antonia Clark, one of the careers consultants at City. I do work especially with psychology students. There are lots and lots of things that the careers service offers. We're a popular service, it's very well used. A bit of support with CVs. We do that via artificial intelligence now. So you submit your CV and it will assess your CV according to that. You can upload your CV for consideration, but we're really focusing on career support at this stage. So mainly people will book a 20-minute appointment for cover letter checking. They might want to include their CV at that point for a quick once over, but we've got great resources online for helping you with this. A big area of focus for lots of students who come to see me, and maybe the most students that come to see me, are psychology students at the university. They're the highest level of users, I would say. Career choice, so a lot of people don't really know what is going to be right for them, let alone ready to apply for a placement. So it might be at the stage of thinking, what is right for me? Well, we can discuss that with plenty of time in 20-minute or 40-minute appointments. Discuss your interests, discuss your strengths, discuss opportunities. Again, one of the most popular reasons people come to see me is mock interviews, preparing people to go on internships, who have interviews, replacements and things like that. And we also support people by checking their postgraduate study application forms. If you don't know much about the career service, just go on to Moodle, because what we've done is we put like a little short course on there, which is really easy to get through, very visual, and it includes lots of information about careers. All City students have been enrolled onto that careers induction Moodle. So if you just go on to Moodle, have a look at the careers Moodle page. Can I just pop into the chat, Stanis, the psychology event? Can I copy into that? Is it open for me to do that? Okay, let me just pop that in. Okay, you can see the link there, everyone, for the psychology panel event, which this year is coming up on the 28th of October, which will be hosted by Andreas and probably myself in the evening from 6 to 8 at the university. It's a campus-based event, but also you can join online. Strongly encourage you to attend, everyone, to just get the chance to see each other again and meet professionals in the field. At that event, as Andreas said, we're focusing not so much on mental health careers, but all the other careers you can go into with a psychology degree, because there are so many: accountancy, business consultant, social researcher, market researcher, etc. You know, you can attend other links, other events rather, on our page, as Andreas highlighted. Just go to the events section on Careers Hub. So just look into the chat again, everybody. On Careers Hub, you can see it says events there, but when you go there, you'll see also there's a section for appointments, and there's a great section for resources, which includes guidance on CVs, screencasts on CVs, cover letters, networking, psychometric tests. So it's a great resource, loads of stuff there. Lastly, I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to seeing lots of you on the new Psychology Year 2 module, but that's next semester. So Andreas is absolutely right to get you all thinking of starting to get work experience and applying for it now, because now is the time to apply for internships, now is the time to apply for placements and good voluntary opportunities as well. But if you don't happen to get one of those opportunities, don't think it's the end of the world, anyone. There's plenty of other stuff you can do. Lots of great experience comes from volunteering, and there'll be lots of support with career planning, CVs, cover letters, etc. in the careers module with you in year 2 in semester 2. So I think that's all I wanted to say. I can talk about careers for a very long time. I've been a careers consultant for over 30 years, always worked with young people. I love the job. Look forward to seeing some of you and supporting you all with your own career direction and any questions that you might have. So look forward to seeing you guys again.
Fantastic. Sorry, Antonia, that I put you in such a pickle. I see you in half an hour.
I'll see you in half an hour.
I can only stress, I mean, Antonia is amazing. I think you'll see her in all the other events we organize. You will see her on the 28th. I think try to get book an appointment with her, whether you have a specific question or not. She can help you with your next step. It's really important to take that. You pay for that for the career service, and you take advantage of that. So it's really important to do that. Let me answer some of the questions just in the last 5 minutes that I see in the chat. So there was one question about placements outside the NHS. Obviously you can, it's not very hard to find placements outside the NHS if you want to do something clinical. You can basically do this by applying to charities that do the work you're interested in. So you could do something, let's say for instance, you want to work with, let's say, I don't know, adults with learning difficulties and learning disabilities, okay? Then you would just contact a charity who's doing that, and you can ask them if you could do a placement here with them, and they were very happy. It's not very hard to find kind of these opportunities for clinical psychology, especially if you live in London. There's tons of clinical volunteering opportunities. I think you can also, somebody asked me privately if it's possible to do clinical experience in a different country. Of course, and this is not weird or anything like that. It's not strange. People are people, and whenever you do that, I think it's perfectly fine. We used to actually, there was this organization that had a close connection with City, which organized clinical work experience during the summer in Sri Lanka, but COVID crashed them and they didn't survive the COVID crash. I think sometimes also somebody asked me impact of COVID. I mean, I'm afraid to say COVID is really good for psychology. A lot of the funding has been increased for psychology. So you can see it. We have, like, during the time, we have record numbers for placements. During the period of COVID, jobs are up. So I think if you are into clinical psychology or mental health, COVID is a really good thing. So I think psychology didn't really take a hit there. And I think even you can, a lot of organizations provided stuff online, which is hopefully not relevant anymore. But yeah, COVID wasn't so bad for us. Just to let you know. Okay, it seems like we covered it. I mean, obviously there were like certain events that were mentioned. I will put this information around. Can you do a placement year abroad? I think so. I'm not sure. I don't think that anyone ever did that. But I think just email.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Well, okay.
It's just more complicated in a current climate, but if you can find one abroad, yeah, there's no problem.
And I think one thing that might be kind of interesting to mention is also that basically, and I think Roma, you might correct me, but we really want you to take advantage of that placement here. So I think we're trying to make, whenever you say, I think we have students who do 2 different placements and kind of put that together, or if you have a certain idea that nobody ever did before, we're very welcoming to try to figure out if we can. I think we're very lenient in a way to try to figure out a way to make it happen for you. I think the placement team, you will see it if you work with them, if you email them, they're yeah, it's just like it's a great experience, and they will try everything they can to kind of help you figure that out. So it's not so much that there's just one thing you can do. There are many different ways to do your placement here in many different areas. I hope that makes sense. All right, I need to thanks for all the nice words in the chat. I need to end this event because in 10 minutes my next event starts. Yes, I think keep an eye out, join the LinkedIn team. You get the quickest information there, and then you get emails from me, read them. And then I wish you a great start to the semester. And I hope to see you all soon. Thank you, Roma, so much for joining us, and talk soon. Bye.